In this video, you'll learn everything you need to know about running a successful focus group in 5 easy to follow steps. A properly managed focus group will give you deeper insights into the minds of your target audience. But a poorly managed one means wasting precious time and money. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm John here at Spiel Creative. Before we get started, make sure you click the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you'll get notified every time we upload a new video to help you with your marketing. Focus groups have an interesting history, having first been used by Ernest Ditcher in the 1930s, who took psychological and observational research techniques and applied them to business in innovative ways. He used focus groups to understand why people behaved the way they did, uncovering people's desires and predispositions to brands and products. Rather than the standard market research methods at the time, which were focused primarily on quantifying what customers were doing, Ditcher was more interested in exploring why consumers made the specific purchase decisions that they did, i.e. the motivations behind their decisions. And blasting into the 21st century, the two approaches to market research have stood the test of time. What we call quantitative research involves analysing hard data to gain insights, such as examining your sales figures or your Google Analytics data, for example. Focus groups, on the other hand, work differently. As qualitative research, they rely on exploratory methods to paint a clearer picture of what your audience wants. If analytics give you the hard data on how your target audience is behaving, focus groups help you better understand why they are behaving in the way that they are. So let's get started with your first step. Plan your topics and questions. Before you ask a single question, you need to clarify exactly what the goal of your focus group is. When you start to choose which topics you'll discuss, resist the urge to squeeze every possible aspect of your business into the conversation. The more focused your discussion is on a single topic, the more likely it is that you'll dive deep enough into that topic to learn something new. Plus, the last thing you want to do is overload the people in your focus group. Our advice: consider running multiple rounds of the focus group if you'd like to discuss multiple subjects. For example, you can run one focus group on a new product and run a separate discussion on your advertising campaign. The questions you ask should encourage exploration and discovery. You want to make sure that you're promoting discussion with open-ended questions. For example, instead of saying something like, "Did you like our new software?" consider saying, "What are your thoughts on our new software?" If you're struggling to think of what to ask, here are the 3 areas of questioning that we found to be great. 1. Get to know how they use and feel about your product. 2. Ask them about your competitors. Believe it or not, leaning into any perceived weaknesses can help relax your focus group and lead to a more natural discussion. 3. Determine what they wish for. What do they want in the future? On top of that, you'll want to create a questionnaire. Make sure you leave enough space for general comments. As you collect more information, you'll end up with a collection of common responses from which you will start spotting common trends and patterns. If you're going to be facilitating the focus group yourself, make sure you appoint a designated note taker. Why does this matter? Well, while you're running the focus group, this person can observe the group and highlight some noteworthy responses. In addition, filming the focus group with the consent of the participants can be really helpful, as it will allow you to go back and review the session at later dates. So next, let's move on to the next step, finding participants. Now, we'll admit this can be a particularly challenging aspect of running a focus group, especially when some people never show up. The most important thing when it comes to finding participants is to ensure that they resemble your target audience as closely as possible. Consider everything from age, gender, profession, income level, and location. If your participants fail to match up to your target audience, you may get substantially different responses from your actual customers. Take an example of a software company whose focus group is testing a new product. If the primary decision makers who purchase the product are CTOs of insurance companies, it would be key to match this demographic as closely as possible, i.e. make chief technology officers the primary participants of the focus group. Another important thing to consider is how many participants you should have in your focus group. Traditionally, most focus groups conducted for the purpose of market research tend to include 10 to 12 people. The advantage of having more participants is that you can get more perspectives and will have a larger sample size to form your conclusions. However, on the other hand, if your focus group is too large, it will limit the amount of time each participant has to share their insights. So generally, the sweet spot is usually considered to be the range of 10 to 12 participants. And from our own personal experience here at Spiel, this number tends to work well. Okay, so let's go through some of the main methods you can use to find your participants. First on your list should be professional agencies. These agencies can easily help you find the perfect participants for a small fee. Hiring a third party can help ensure objectivity in selecting the right participant. If relevant for your focus group, you can also approach your existing customers. You can do this by offering compelling incentives like discounts. Also, consider finding participants through your social media channels. You can make announcements to your following and consider doing paid adverts to recruit the right people. And why stop there? You can conduct location-based promotion, publishing in the local newspapers. Of course, the best way to ensure you have a wide range of participants is by offering compelling incentives for people to attend. Cash incentives are great, but if you're on a tight budget, you can be creative. Future coupon codes can work exceptionally well here. And now for step 3, how to actually run that focus group. Right off the bat, you'll want to have consent forms filled out before the discussion. Trust us, everyone's life becomes much simpler when you get the paperwork out of the way. As mentioned earlier, you'll want to record the focus group either with video or sound so that you can revisit the feedback at a later date. Now, let's get into the actual process of running the group. Here's the golden rule. The more comfortable someone is, the more likely they are going to be completely honest with you. And with all this time and money being poured into market research, the last thing you want is a room full of yes men. Take some time and make sure everyone introduces themselves to break the ice. You can also expand on this by asking your audience to share something interesting about themselves. This actually gives you a chance to learn more about what kind of people they are and how their behavior matches up with their other interests. Once everyone is feeling nice and comfortable, start asking questions and opening up discussion. And don't worry about pushing through your list of questions as much as trying to ask up follow-up questions. A simple, "Why do you think that is?" can go a long way. If you feel the conversation starting to die down, you can move on to the next question or ask some follow-up questions. And make sure that every person in the group has had a chance to be heard. What's important is that the entire experience feels light, relaxed, and straightforward. Simple enough, right? Let's talk of the next step, analyzing your feedback. Once you've finished running your focus group, you'll walk away with plenty of potentially useful information. Most of the key insights should actually become quite apparent to you during the focus group itself as the participants voice their thoughts. However, don't just rely on your initial impressions. It's important that once the session is over, that you carefully review the session notes and re-watch the recordings to check for re-emerging themes and validate those initial observations. It's also a good idea to get your colleagues to review the information as well to get their take on it. Often in a focus group, you may have certain individuals who are more assertive and speak with more conviction than others, resulting in them making a stronger initial impression, which psychologists refer to as confirmation bias. But once you have time to reflect on your session afterwards, you may realize that the thoughts of these more assertive participants weren't necessarily the overall consensus of the group, or that other participants were simply going along with them not to offend, which is why spending time properly reflecting on the findings is essential before drawing your final conclusions. Once you've found those conclusions, you'll then need to validate them. While focus groups can really help provide you with some excellent insights, it's worth considering their limitations. While they are a great market research tool, we don't advise that you throw all your eggs in one basket and take word from your group discussion as gospel. The main limitation of focus groups is that the findings are derived from a small sample size. So whatever conclusions you draw will ultimately be the perspectives of a few participants only, which you will then need to hope accurately reflect the perceptions of your overall audience. This inherently comes with a degree of error which you need to be mindful of. Another limitation, which can result in distortions, is what is known as observer bias. This essentially refers to the fact that the participants are aware that they are being observed and therefore will alter their behavior too. This can lead to participants more willingly agreeing with other participants' opinions, or you as the chair of the focus group, in order to not stand out or offend anyone. And in the same token, it can also have the opposite effect, with some participants feeling the need to hold a stronger or controversial opinion. A great way to minimize any potential errors is to see if you can stress test the findings of your focus group before completely committing to them. For example, let's say you sell organic hair products which promote healthier hair. If your focus group tells you that they definitely prefer the color green for your new shampoo bottle over your usual red color scheme because they feel green more closely reflects their perceptions of health-conscious organic products, then before you go and do a full-blown rebrand, you should look to first further validate this insight. For example, you could carry out online surveys and do A/B testing on smaller sample sizes to see whether the green bottles genuinely sells better than the blue one. So that's it, folks. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any further questions, comment down below. Also, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos to help you with your marketing. And finally, if you need any help with your video marketing, you can always get in touch with us here at Spiel by visiting www.spielcreative.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.